The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please come to the floor and take seats. All members of the House will report to the floor, and I'm going to ask the clerk to ring the bell. All members, please come to the floor of the House. We're about to have the morning roll call. All members. We're going to have the call of the roll. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Good morning. I hope everyone had a good evening. We will have scripture reading and prayer to begin our day, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 10th House District, Representative Terry Rogers. Representative Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to introduce our pastor of the day today because he's a very good personal friend of mine. Pastor Mike Franklin has a wide and diverse background, and I guess I could stand up here for a long time and tell you all about it. I could tell you that he graduated from Lee College, which is now Lee University, and the Church of God School of Theology. But I think the real measure is the fact that when he came to our community 12 years ago, he took over a small Church of God church that had about 100 members and has now turned it into an interdenominational church really serving the community of about 3,000 people. The main thing I think is that he leads by example. This church is always the first to jump in as far as when there's needs and hurts in the community, and leadership starts at the top, and he's been a great example of that. Would you help me to welcome my friend? Let me just say this, I almost missed this as part of it. He and his wife, Connie, have 3 children, one of which played football at the University of Oklahoma. It is out now. But he has been a pastor for 34 years, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you my friend, Pastor Mike Franklin.
What a privilege it is for me to be given the opportunity to be with you today. It's a distinct honor. I appreciate the challenges that the responsibility with which you have been laden brings. What is more, I count it indeed a privilege to be given the opportunity to stand before you and to address you today. Hopefully, I can challenge you with the scriptures so that you will contemplate some areas in your life as you today move through this session. Any way we slice the cake, today's world is filled with perplexing questions. I find myself asking why so many children are disrespectful to authority, why so many people are filled with violence, and why it's so hard for people to fulfill their commitments. I find myself asking, why is it so difficult to stay married and live happily together? I ask, why are so many people quick to indulge themselves in sexual immorality, even though they know the dangers of STDs and AIDS are looming on the horizon? Why are so many alcoholics and drug addicts present when they understand the psychological, emotional, physical demise it brings to their lives? Why has security in America become a booming business? The answers to these questions are hard to find because we really struggle sometimes asking why. We don't have any trouble asking what because we want to know what our problems are. We don't have any trouble asking how, so we can ask how do we solve what our problems are. We don't have any problem asking where do we pour our energies. But we struggle, I think all of humanity does, with answering the why question. Because the why question brings us face to face with our personal values, face to face with the motives of our heart. And as our motives go, so go our lives. As our values go, so goes our community, our nation. Why openly confronts that issue. A motive is kind of an emotion, a desire, some kind of physiological or psychological impulse that stimulates us to action. If we kind of brush with a broad stroke, it's an underlying assumption. It's the basic reason why we act the way we act, think the way we think, talk the way we talk. Our problem is really simple. For many people in our culture, we've become governed by, influenced by, and coerced by faulty value systems. In the past 40 years, I've seen tremendous changes in our society, as have many of you. The America that I grew up in is probably lost forever. The freedoms that I experienced, some of them will never return. For me, the answer is really simple as to why. Because we live in a day when many reject the moral ethic that made this nation strong. When many reject the God of the Bible, even the Bible itself. We live in a day when faith has eroded for many, when the Judeo-Christian ethic has been forsaken and forgotten by many, even though it was the foundation upon which our nation was built and Western society was established. In our day, what the Bible calls worldly thinking tends to govern our culture. Truth is no longer fixed or absolute. There's no ultimate reality, no ultimate morality, no ultimate purpose. No living God to whom you and I will give an account. The fallout of that is mysticism has been championed, spiritism has been invoked, the erotic and the pornographic has been celebrated, and in short, we find ourselves facing a moral vacuum. Spiritual confusion. And I don't know if you deal with as many folks as I do on a daily basis, but I deal with a lot of people that are emotionally fragile. Violence and crime have reflected in our streets a devaluation of human life that has become the norm of our culture. Great atrocities have ensued. And often we find ourselves feeling like we're helpless to do anything about it. Let me just tell you, the battle is on. The bottom line is that we're in full-scale battle over our values. In Scripture, when the children of Israel were facing hostile environments as they prepared to go into the Promised Land, they had to respond to the word of the Lord. Canaan was a land that was filled with heathen gods and traditions of mystical practice that was missing the point. It was filled with faulty values, and to succeed, the children of Israel had to hear, understand, and embrace the motives and values that God gave them. It's in that context, in Deuteronomy chapter 30, that Moses said, This day I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you, that I've set before you today both life and death, blessings and cursings. Now choose ye life. If you do, you and your children will live. The point's really simple. They had to start with correct values. For us, it means if we're going to experience the happiness and fulfillment we want in our culture, if we're going to have the resources to deal with all the stuff that life just chunks at us every day, we're going to have to start in the right place. We're going to have right motives and right values that govern what we do. We start by choosing life. We start by loving the Lord and listening to His voice and holding fast to Him. A few years later, Joshua reiterated the words again of Moses. He said, "Fear the Lord and serve Him with faithfulness. Throw away the gods that your forefathers worshiped beyond the river in Egypt and serve the Lord." Then he made this profound statement. He said, "But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether it's the God of your forefathers or the God of the Amorites in whose land you live today. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Today, I come to you and I tell you the choice is ours. We have to make up our mind. Today, on these chamber floors, you're going to demonstrate what you choose. Today, on these chamber floors, I ask you this simple question: what will turn around our families, our country, our world? Scripture's answer is straightforward and simple. Putting your values back in order. Putting first this statement: as for me and in my house, we'll serve the Lord. Some look at me and they say, "Pastor, that sounds really great, but how in the world do I make that work inside my life? Because it seems like apathy's everywhere, irresponsibility reigns. It seems like I can trust no one. In fact, the lack of integrity that fills up our culture just makes me feel like I don't have any hope." Sometimes, I don't know like if you're like me, but sometimes I feel like the couple who died when they were on their way to their wedding ceremony. They came to it at Heaven's Gate, and St. Pete looked at them and said, "Come on in." And they said, "Well, wait a minute. Before we go in, can we do one thing?" He said, "What's that?" Said, "We want to get married." Pete said, "Well, I guess we can do that. I think we can arrange it. Just wait right here a second, and I'll be back." 3 months later, he comes back. Finally, he shows up with a pastor, and he says, "Okay, let's do it." They said, wait. We need a prenuptial before we get married. We promised each other we'd do that." St. Pete said, "Now look, I don't know about that. It took me 3 months to find a preacher. I don't know if I'll ever find a lawyer." We have these extreme amounts of foolishness in our behavior these days. It's not a matter of logic, man. There simply is no logic to some of the stuff we see. It's simply a matter of character. It's simply a matter of motives, of the way we think, of the underlying assumptions, of the foundational commitments that we form in our lives. And that's why I challenge you today. As you deliberate, I challenge you to consider your values, to analyze your motives. Our state rests in your hands. We, the people, are depending upon you. Solomon said it as well as anyone could in Proverbs 16. "All a man's ways seem innocent to him, but motives are weighed by the Lord." If I were to say that, I would say it a different way. I'd simply say that we can justify just about anything we want to justify, but God is going to look inside our heart at the motives and the underlying values that have determined what we did. Solomon finished in verse 3 by saying, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed." Years ago, I came to a conclusion. It's a simple word. I'm more afraid of God than I am of you. I challenge you to come to a conclusion in your life where you become more afraid of God than you are of anyone you deal with, and analyze your values. Shall we pray? Father, on this Lord's morning, we bow before you, and it's with gratitude that we come. Gratitude for the opportunities that you have afforded in our lives. Gratitude for the responsibilities that you have laid at our feet. Thankful that we are given the opportunity to lead. Thankful that you have entrusted us with the gifts and the talents and the abilities necessary to be what you have given us the opportunity to be and to do what you have challenged and called us to do. And Lord, in that context today, we ask you for wisdom. Wisdom that is beyond any of our own personal experiences, wisdom that is beyond any portion of years that we might have accumulated, wisdom that comes from above. Grant us the grace that we might analyze our lives with care and that we might challenge the very values and the motives of our culture. Grant us the grace to do that which will allow us to be blessed by your hand. These things we ask, Father, in the name of the strong Son of God, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. Amen. Would you please face the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. For the report from the Committee on Information and Audits, the chair recognizes the lady from the 123rd District, the chairman of the Committee on Information and Audits, Chairman Sims.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the proceedings of the previous day and found them to be in order.
Chairman Sims, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. O'Neill, 146, moves the following be established during the first part of the period of unanimous consent. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading of bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, reports of standing committees, third reading and passage, uncontested local bills, morning orders, rules, calendar, privilege resolutions, through the resolution establishing the order of business for this legislative day.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 500 by Representative Drenner of the 85th. Bill to be entitled Act Amending Code Section 463201 relating to existence and powers of electric membership corporations.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Bill 501 by Representative Williams, 168th. The bill to be entitled Act Amending Title 32 General Provisions regarding maintenance of public roads.
Transportation.
House Bill 502 by Representative Coomer, 14th. The bill to be entitled Act Amending Title 44 relating to Property Owners Association.
Judiciary.
House Bill 503, Representative 385th, bill to be entitled Amendment Title 46, relating to public utilities.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Bill 504, Representative Pack, the 108th, bill to be entitled Amendment Title 40, relating to horns, exhaust systems, mirrors, and windshields.
Judiciary.
House Bill 505, Representative Powell, 32nd, bill to be entitled Act Created Board of Elections, Madison County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 506, Representative Smythe, the 135th, bill to be entitled Act Amendment Title 15, relating to superior courts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 507, Representative Clark, 98th, bill to be entitled Act Amendment Title 16, relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 508, Representative Black, the 174th, bill to be entitled Act Amendment Act by Election Board of Education, Charlton County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 509, Representative Wade, 60th, bill to be entitled Amendment Title 10, Fair Business Practices Act.
Natural Resources and Environment.
House Resolution 512, Representative Chanel, the 120th, resolution on the life of Mr. Felton Hudson, dedicating a bridge in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 527, Representative Caldwell, the 20th, resolution commending the Governor of Georgia refusing to implement state health care, calling for continued action.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 115 by Senator Tippins, 37th, the bill to be entitled Act, amending Code Section 222, 133, relating to free public instruction.
Education.
Senate Bill 134 by Senator Carter the first, the bill to be entitled Act, amending Code Section 16, 13, 21, relative to controlled substances.
Judiciary, non-civil.
Senate Bill 137 by Senator Jeffers, 17th, the bill to be entitled Act relating to tax credits for business.
Ways and Means.
Senate Bill 139 by Senator Miller, 49th, the bill to be entitled Act amending Title 13 relating to general provisions for contracts.
Banks and Banking.
Through the first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
HB 487 by Representative Ramsey of the 72nd, a bill relating to offenses against public health and morals. HB 488 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st, a bill relating to responsible dog ownership. HB 489 by Representative Nix of the 69th, a bill relating to optional retirement allowances under the Teachers Retirement System of Georgia. HB 490 by Representative Barr of the 103rd, a bill relating to health insurance plans for teachers and other school personnel. HB 491 by Representative Sims of the 169th, the bill relating to jurisdiction of the state. HB 492, Representative Roberts of the 155th, the bill relating to special license plates, promoting certain beneficial projects and supporting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations. HB 493 by Mr. Rutledge of the 109th, a bill relating to commercial feeds. HB 494 by Representative Welch of the 110th, a bill relating to mass transportation. HB 495 by Representative Hill of the 22nd, a bill relating to state properties code. HB 496 by Representative Allison of the 8th, the bill to create the Raven County Water and Sewer Authority. HB 497 by Representative Tanner of the 9th, a bill to amend the Georgia Boat Safety Act. HB 498 by Representative Chokas of the 138th, a bill to authorize the Magistrate Court of Sumter County to charge a technology fee in each civil case filed and criminal fine imposed. HB 499 by Representative Sheldon of the 104th, a bill relating to general provisions for torts. HR 511 by Representative Pruitt of the 149th, a resolution honoring the life of Trooper Sergeant Major George W. Harrelson, dedicating a road in his memory. HR 413 by Representative Rogers of the 29th, a resolution dedicating the Linear Islands Parkway. Senate Bill 68 by Senator Lagan Jr. of the 3rd, a bill relating to elementary secondary education. Senate Bill 103 by Senator Golden of the 8th, a bill relating to the powers of the State Board of Technical College System of Georgia. Senate Bill 105 by Senator Davis of the 22nd, a bill to amend the Uniform Fraudulent Transfers Act. Senate Bill 135 by Senator McCune of the 29th, a bill relating to DNA sampling, collection, and analysis. And Senate Bill 143 by Senator Millar of the 40th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to the Public Retirement Systems Standards Law. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Cooper of the 43rd, Chairman, Committee on Health and Human Services, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Health and Human Services had consideration following resolution and bills of the House. Instruct me to report the same by the House. Following recommendation: House Resolution 502 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 332 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 461, 240 do pass. Respect submitted. Representative Cooper, Chair. Representative Sims, 169, Chairman, Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination has had on consideration following bills of the House. Instruct me to report the same back to the House following recommendation: House Bill 432, 433, 447, 457, 466, 467, 479, 484, 485 do pass. Respect submitted. Representative Sims, Chair. Representative Rice, 95th, Chairman, Committee on Motor Vehicles, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Motor Vehicles has had consideration following bill of the House. Instruct me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation: House Bill 323 do pass by substitute. Respect submitted. Representative Rice, Chair. Through the committee reports.
We have a local calendar today. We're going on to third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. We're about to take up the local calendar. House will come to order. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 432 by Representative Morris, 156, Appling County. House Bill 433 by Representative Morris, 156, Appling County. House Bill 447, Representative Hatchett, 150, Lawrence County. House Bill 457 by Representative Braddock, 19th, Paulding County. House Bill 466, Representative Rogers, the 10th, Habersham County. House Bill 467 by Representative Epps, 144, Twiggs and Wilkinson counties. House Bill 479 by Representative Dudgeon, 25th, Forsyth County. House Bill 484 by Representative Williamson, 115th, Walton County. House Bill 485 by Representative Hatchett, 150, Truitland County. The above foregoing local bills have been for the House Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination. The committee recommends bills do pass, and bills being read today for the third time.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the bills on the local calendar now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of the bills on the local calendar, the ayes are 156, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. All right, we're about to go on to morning orders. House will come to order. Members in the chamber will take their seats and cease conversation. Let's clear the aisles. If you've got important discussions that you need to have, then take those to the anteroom, please. We're about to go on to morning orders. If you have a morning order, please come down and line up along the wall back here. We have groups that we're putting in place for some recognitions later, and that way we can know that you are here and your group that you might want to recognize up in the gallery is here and that you're ready. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Talton and Representative Kirby for a morning order. Chair's going to limit morning orders this morning to 2 minutes each because we have a number of members who have signed up. Gentlemen may proceed.
Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to stand here this morning. I've been in this General Assembly for 9 years, and this is the first time I ever had an opportunity or wanted to give a morning order. During my time of these 9 years, I have acquired friendships in this General Assembly from all walks of life and from both sides of the aisle. And this is one of my new acquired friends. So we decided to bring a little moment of history to you all this morning from the birthplace of the Republican Party. On July the 6th, 1854, a state convention of anti-slavery men was held in Jackson, Michigan to find a new political party. Uncle Tom's Cabinet had been published 2 years earlier, causing increased resentments against slavery. And the Kansas City, Nebraska Act of May 1854 threatened to make slave states out of previous free territories. Since the convention day was hot and huge crowds could not be accommodated in the hall, the meeting adjourned to an oak grove on Morgan 40 on the outskirts of town. Here a statewide slate of candidates was selected and the Republican Party was born, winning an overwhelming victory in elections in 1854. The Republican Party went on to dominate nationwide parties throughout the 19th century. This I thought was very important during this session and through our country. So I'm going to let Representative Tom say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was indeed honored that my friend Willie would ask me to participate with him here today. We used a picture that from 1940, which was certainly much better than the one I took when I had the privilege of being in Jackson. And if you can't see it clearly, it simply says, "Here under the oaks, July 6, 1854, was born the Republican Party, destined in the throes of civil strife to abolish slavery, vindicate democracy, and to perpetuate the Union." Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and we yield away.
Chair recognizes Representative Chokas for a morning order. Representative Chokas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the House. It is indeed a pleasure for me to recognize and honor some teachers and students from Sly County High School. I've got in the gallery Gabe Tice. He's an AP U.S. History teacher. William Rooks, an AP Government U.S. Government teacher, as well as Daniel Lackey, who is a student teacher from Georgia Southwestern State University, and 22 students from Sly County High. So stand up and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes for a morning order Representatives B.J. Pack and Representative Marin for a morning order. And Representative Holcomb. I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, as you know, today is the second annual Asian American and Pacific Islander Legislative Day, and we have adopted a resolution. If the clerk could read the caption to the adopted resolution, please.
House Resolution 471 by Representative Pack of the 108th and many others A resolution recognizes and commending the contributions of Georgia Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and recognizing today, February 28, 2013, as Georgia Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders Legislative Day at the state capitol.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We had a successful breakfast kickoff today, which was hosted by the Asian American Legal Advocacy Center. I hope some of you had a chance to visit. I know we had a lot of committee hearings, but I want to recognize certain VIPs that are here today who represent certain groups of Asian American leaders. First, from the Asian American Peace Officers of Georgia, Captain Jerry Lou Kwan, who is a officer at Cobb County Police Department. If you don't hold the applause. Assistant Chief Parole Officer Louis Tang, Georgia State Board of Pardons and Paroles. Sergeant Craig Dong, Commander of the Criminal Investigative Unit at Cobb County, West Precinct 5. Helen Kim Ho, Executive Director of ALAC. Acting Consul General of Japan, Joji Miyamori. Estrella Kramer, Global Procurement Finance Manager for UPS. And prominent attorneys Hung Nguyen, who is the principal of Law Office of Hung Nguyen, and Sanjay Kumar, principal of Kumar, Prabhu, Patel, and Banerjee. Master Chong Lee and Mrs. Myung Lee is Lee's Taekwondo, who's from Savannah. Connie G, the Executive Director of the Asian American Resource Center. Dr. Gulshan Hari from the Pakistani community. And Kapana Bastola from the Bhutanese refugee community. And I also noticed there, I see Anna Kao is the Consul General of Taiwan here today. We want to invite you, you'll see a lot of the members and VIP and guest Asian Americans on the Capitol. They're having lobbying training on how to interact with your legislators, so they'll come in to visit you today. And we also invite you, there's a luncheon at the depot starting at 12. When we get out, please swing by and say hello. And right afterwards with the VIPs, we would invite any legislators who would want to take a picture with them into the ante room. And with that, thank you very much, and we yield well.
Chair recognizes Representative Bennett for a morning order. Representative Bennett.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleagues in the House, lights, camera, action. If we were back at the Tyler Perry Studios, along with the other colleagues from the Economic Development Committee, that's what you would hear. But today, since I am in the State House of Georgia, and I have the distinct honor of presenting our Black History fact for today, my words are vision, voice, victory, advocacy, and action.
Finally tonight, remembering a heroine of the civil rights era, and to Gwen Ifill.
Dorothy Irene Height always made it her business to be in the room, whether it was working with Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune, or advising Martin Luther King Jr. and Roy Wilkins. After a lifetime of activism, she received both the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Bill Clinton in 1994 and the Congressional Medal of Honor from President George W. Bush in 2004.
Early in life, I learned that it was important to have some goals and to have a sense that you were not just a worker, but that you had a mission, and to have a sense of a life's work. And I chose to put my life's work in the direction of equality and justice.
To have a life's work. The words of Mrs. Dorothy Height, the second executive director of the National Council of Negro Women, which was founded in 1935 by Mary McLeod Bethune, the daughter of a slave parent. NCNW was the first national coalition of African American women's organizations and it was and is the most influential organization of women that spurred its prominency from the civil rights era. Today, the NCNW is a nonprofit organization with a mission that continues for advocacy, advancement, opportunities, and the quality of life for all African American women and their families. So today, we honor and recognize Mrs. Dorothy Height for her achievement, advocacy, and action. Today, we are also joined by members of a local chapter of the National Council of Negro Women, and you will hear from them later. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the House.
Chair recognizes Representative Green for a morning order. Representative Gerald Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we do a lot of things in this chamber, but one of the most wonderful things we're able to do is to introduce individuals from our home district. And this morning, the Randolph County Leadership Group, under the direction of Patricia Goodman and Chris Peavy, are here. And it takes them about 3 hours to come. But they're in the balcony this morning, and I would like for you as members to welcome them to their House of Representatives. Patricia, would you and your group please stand? Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Williams for a morning order. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, you just witnessed a few minutes ago a small video of Dorothy Height. Today we have the pleasure of having some members of the National Council of Negro Women of the DeKalb section, in which my wife, Ruby Torbert Williams, she is the president. They're up in the gallery to my right. Please stand. Let's give them a big hand. They will be having lunch over in room 605 CLOB after adjournment. Please come by to see them. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Chairman Yates for a morning order. Chairman Yates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The other day I thought we had a good celebration with Georgia National Guard coming and being with us, but there's nothing like hearing from an expert on it. We got a short note here from the Adjutant General. Thank you for your participation during National Guard Day at the Capitol. You and your staff made our special day one of the best ever. I, as well as the entire Georgia National Guard organization, could feel the overwhelming love and support in the Capitol that morning. We are humbled by the continued support we receive from the state of Georgia. I am confident that our lasting relationship will prove valuable for our great state as we constantly seek to improve it. You can be sure your hard work and support does not go unnoticed. Please do not hesitate to call on me if I may be of assistance. Adjutant General Jim Butterworth. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Beasley Teague for a morning order. Representative Beasley Teague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like for every black person in this room, even up there, to please stand. What I come to talk to you about is leadership. If you could all stand, because every person that is black that is in this room, even up in the gallery, you're a leader. That's the only reason you are here. In Africa, when our people were being sold into slavery, they were led by a face that was familiar. Tell me today, which one are you? Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Gasaway for a morning order. Just a minute, Representative. We are doing morning orders, and the chair is going to ask that if you're on the floor of this House, that you take your seats and cease conversation and give attention and respect to the member in the well. Gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, today, many of you don't know me, but I'm from a little small county in northeast Georgia called Banks County, and we have the distinct pleasure today of having two firsts in Banks County. Banks County this year has the 2013 State School Superintendent of the Year, Mr. Chris Irwin. He's in the gallery up here. Chris, please stand up. This is the 2013 State School Superintendent of the Year. And in addition to Chris, today we have some real celebrities. We have the Banks County High School AAA State Champion Wrestling Team, the first state championship in the history of Banks County. Please stand up, gentlemen. And as part of that group, we have a state individual champion, Mr. Chris McCracken, who is the state individual champion, AAA wrestling champion as a freshman. So I think I'll have Chris down here for many years to come. Thank you very much.
All right, now the chair recognizes looks like a large contingent for a morning order. Representative Tom Taylor, Representative Lynn Riley, Representative Scott Holcomb, Representative Valerie Clark, Chairman Matt Dollar, and Chairman John Burns for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're here today to honor Director General Anna Cow of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. She's been stationed in Atlanta for several years and actually based here, but runs the operations for a number of southeastern states. She's, over the past few years, has given a lot of opportunities for members of this House to travel to Taiwan, experience the culture, the business environment, and everything there. And it's just been a great friend. She's got a promotion and headed back to Taipei soon. So I just want to recognize Anna up in the Director General. Please stand. Let's give her a big hand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Bubber Epps and Representative Robert Dickey for a morning order. And Representative Randall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's our pleasure to introduce to you and present the Peach Queens of Windsor? Oh, sorry. They told me the wrong one. Windsor Academy is here. Windsor is in the gallery. If they'll please stand. Windsor is now in the new part of my district. That's why they had to prompt me to come up here. But we're so glad that you all are here. Windsor is a great academy over in Bibb County, and they produce great leaders of our future in Macon and Bibb County. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Kelly for a morning order. Representative Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I come before you today to recognize a special group of sophomores from Polk County that are here with Polk Youth Leadership. This is a group of around 30 sophomores who have chosen to participate in this program. That's a joint venture between our school system, our Polk County Chamber of Commerce, and our Extension Office. So I'm just so glad to have them here and the commitment that they've made to our community and to this state. So if y'all please rise so that we can recognize you for being here today.
Chair recognizes Representative Gravely for a morning order. Representative Gravely, and it looks as though he's going to be joined by Representative Jones, Representative Alexander, and Representative Beasley Teague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise with my beautiful colleagues joining me from the Douglas County delegation to honor on this day in Black history an outstanding Douglas County citizen. Michael McNeely is a native Georgian and grew up in Rennes, Georgia. He was raised in the church where he learned to serve God and his fellow man. Boy Scouts reinforced this concept, and Michael worked through the ranks, earning the Eagle Scout Award. After high school, Michael attended and graduated from Georgia Southern University with a degree in Justice Studies. While he was there, he was appointed to the university's judicial board and heard disciplinary cases involving university students. Michael also served our great state in the Georgia Army National Guard for 6 years in the 190th MP Company based in Atlanta. Michael became a police officer and for 14 years protected and served the citizens of South Fulton. He has been a deacon at Word of Faith Family Worship Cathedral in Austell, Georgia since 1998. Michael currently serves as the Deputy Commissioner at the Department of Juvenile Justice. Michael is also married to Jennifer McNeely, a recent law school grad, and they have lived in Villa Rica, Georgia, located in the fighting 67th House District in Douglas County since 2008. It is my honor to welcome an outstanding Georgian, an outstanding citizen, and one of my own constituents, Mr. Michael McNeely. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
House will be at order. House will be at order. We're going to recognize some very distinguished Georgians who are visiting with us today. The chair recognizes for an invite resolution the chairman of the State Properties Committee, Chairman Neal, for an invite resolution. Chairman Neal.
Doing well. How are you? I want to hear about your trip sometime. That was interesting. One of my judges was on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it is a privilege of mine to rise today to bring before you some incredibly talented young ladies. The Gordon Lee High School softball team won their first state championship in 2004, and as a freshman legislator, I brought them to recognize them for that state championship. They have now won 3 consecutive state championships to go with that one. Coach Mull has had an unbelievable run with this team. I have with me today 3 of the first team All-State players from this softball team, including the state pitcher of the year, and it's a great honor to have them with us today. And I'm going to ask Coach if she would to step up and share just a few words at this time.
It's an honor to be here to be recognized. I know these girls really appreciate it. And like you said, these are 3 of our first team All-State members over here to my right, and we want to thank you for letting us be here. Thank you.
This team had 3 first team All-State. How many second team? 2 second team and 3 third team All-State. 8 players off of this team made All-State. And the remarkable thing about this is they have 1 senior. So we're looking for 4 in a row next year. But congratulations, ladies. I think the rest of the team got caught up between Senate and House and didn't make it into the gallery. But would you join me in congratulating the champions, state champions from Gordon Lee High School?
Chair recognizes for an invite resolution Representative Dickey. Representative Dickey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I'm proud to introduce you today our beautiful peach queens who travel our state promoting our state fruit, the queen of fruits, Georgia peaches. And you know, peaches are grown all the way from North Georgia and the Speaker's district to Valdosta, and especially in my district in Middle Georgia and Peach and Crawford counties. But we got a great group, and I'm glad they're here in the House today. I want to introduce you briefly to who we have. We have Bryn Owens, Tiny Miss Peach, first grade from Perry, Georgia. She's from Representative O'Neill's district, and Lauren Roberts. Little Miss Peach, Queen, fourth grade in Leesburg, Georgia. Chairman Rinder's district. Caitlin Bastatomy from Junior Miss Peach Queen from Perry, Georgia. Cassidy Starling, Teen Miss Peach Queen. She's in 10th grade from Canton, Georgia. And Anna Treadway, Miss Georgia Peach, and she just graduated from Georgia Southern, applying to PT school, and she's from Eaton, Georgia, Mickey. And the one that really puts all this together is their sponsor, Donna Long, that does a lot of work with all these girls. So please give them a hand this morning for being here. They represent our state well. Robbie, you've got a resolution. Do you read the caption?
House Resolution 92 by Representative Dickey of the 140th and many others, a resolution convening the Georgia Peach Festival 2012 Georgia Peach Queens. Be resolved by the House of Representatives, members of this body do hereby commend the Georgia Peach Festival for promoting the importance of this wonderful agricultural product and congratulate the beautiful 2012 Georgia Peach Queens.
Right. Representative Bentley and I really hope you'll come to Peach County, Middle Georgia for the Peach Festival. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And we brought you again. I think it's peachy.
Chair recognizes Representative Chandler for an invite resolution. Representative Chandler.
How you doing, Joyce? I'm good. Good to see you. Here's your copy there.
Oh, good. Good. It is my privilege to recognize a group of people who are in our schools every day making a difference with our teachers, our students, and our parents. That group is school counselors. School counselors make a difference. They encourage and do everything they can to help students be college, career, and life ready. They reduce and eliminate barriers to learning, and they emphasize that all students can learn and they work to see that young people can achieve at the highest level possible. We have a group of counselors with us today, and it is very difficult to get out of a building if you're a counselor, because principals want their counselors in the building in case there's any kind of crisis. So I do appreciate those who could come. We have Dr. Merle Ziegler, who is program manager for school counseling with DOE. We have several directors of counseling, and then those wonderful counselors who are just in the trenches every day. Would you stand so we can welcome you to your house? Before I recognize the ladies that are here with me, I'd like to just say that there are several representatives who have spouses who are school counselors or who have been school counselors. These representatives know the heart of the school counselor, and they know how diligently they work. We're glad to have Barbara Strickland, who is president of the Georgia School Counselors Association, with us, and Robin Zorn. Raise your hand. Robin is the State Counselor of the Year. Julie Hartline, who in 2009 was the National Counselor of the Year, and also Shelley Kaplinger and Gail Smith. And Barbara's going to come and share a few words with us about school counseling.
Mr. Speaker and distinguished members of the Georgia House of Representatives, on behalf of the Georgia School Counselors Association and all school counselors across the state of Georgia, we thank you for this special recognition. We also thank Representative Dr. Joyce Chandler for her dedication and support of school counseling. Georgia professional school counselors are uniquely qualified to address the academic, career, and personal social developmental needs of the students from pre-K through 12th grade and to work with the whole child. Georgia professional counselors implement comprehensive developmental school counseling programs that promote and enhance student achievement and college and workforce readiness. Our comprehensive programs are essential components of the total instructional program that provides all students the opportunity for optimum development. School counselors are critical to the successful implementation of so many of the initiatives that you have passed within the past 5 years, such as the Bridge Bill, House Bill 182, Career Pathways, and Go Build. As school counselors, we are also instrumental in helping students, teachers, and administrators recognize, prevent, and overcome barriers to learning and engagement. This gives all students the opportunity to learn, thrive, and succeed. Georgia school counselors use data to drive their program's decisions, to monitor student progress, and to measure outcomes in order to continually improve services for our students. School counselors serve as leaders who are engaged in system-wide change to ensure students' success. We advocate for students' educational needs and work to ensure that these needs are addressed at every level of the school experience. There is no question that Georgia school counselors have a unique ability and mission to positively impact the lives of our students, from the most vulnerable to the most fortunate in becoming college, career, and life ready. Georgia school counselors are an integral and essential part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success. I thank each of you for your continued support and funding as we, the counselors of Georgia, work tirelessly with our most precious asset, the students of Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting us come.
Okay, we have a couple of more morning orders we needed to get in. Chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Buckner and Chairman Allen Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is a mixture of feelings to be here today. We wanted to pay tribute to a very friendly, caring, dedicated, feisty, tenacious, passionate, appreciative, and loyal to people and causes kind of person. A true lady that lived until she died, Miss Rachel Fowler. So if any of you remember Miss Fowler being here with the billboard bills and clean water bills, her daughters are with us along with a host of people from the Conservation Voters and the Garden Clubs of Georgia in the gallery. And I'll turn it over to Representative Powell, but we wanted to honor her in our way.
Thank you, Representative Buckner. Tom, come on up. You know, a very special day. This is Garden Club Day up here at the Capitol. And you know, there's for years, those of y'all who've been around for a while, you know, a lot of y'all had the real pleasure of meeting so many decent human beings, and probably the one who epitomized what's good about the Garden Club, and quite frankly, what's good about the old way of doing things, knew Rachel Fowler. Well, on December the 13th, we lost Rachel. I'm not going to read this whole resolution, but I just want to read a couple of lines honoring the life and memory of Rachel Fowler. Whereas the state of Georgia mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished citizens. Let me tell you something, that says it all. You know, Rachel was just absolutely one of the most civil people that we've ever seen. She was the epitome of a citizen lobbyist who walked these halls tirelessly, working for what she thought. She came from a different generation. She came as a product of having worked in Speaker Smith's office back in the 60s, having worked for law firms and very close friends with Speaker Murphy. But whether you agreed with her or you disagreed with her on the issues of conservation or billboards and the such, no one ever had a bad word to say about Rachel Fowler. Civility. In this day and time where we're inundated with negative emails and just a lot of hard pressure, that was a throwback, an effective throwback. They did a good job and they prospered well. And for Rachel's daughters that are there today, I look forward to meeting y'all, and for all the ladies and the gentlemen that are up there, you know, there's not enough good things. And here's to the memory of an absolute wonderful person, Rachel Fowler, and we thank you.
Real quick, for some of y'all that have been around here a while, know that Miss Rachel and I were on opposite sides on several different bills. But I will tell you this, I was scared to death of Miss Rachel. And it was because Miss Rachel was so nice. And Miss Rachel, I hope your spirit comes back and teaches some of these folks walking the halls how to be nice and scare us in here into doing what you want done. Thank y'all.
Well done.
Chair recognizes Chairman Nix for a morning order. Chairman Nix.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Representative Epps and Representative Pizzola, if you'd like to join me. Members, I want to get you to help me welcome a group of 60 seniors from LaGrange and Troup County. They're part of the Active Life group of the LaGrange Troup County Senior Center, and they're over here to my left. So if y'all would stand, we'd like to welcome you to your house. I take that there's so many of them, they're scattered all over the place. So good to have y'all here.
Chair recognizes for a morning order the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Chairman Chanel, for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you today a third grade class from Lake Oconee Academy. It is one of the highest performing charter schools in the entire state. We have 40 children here with us, and they are led by my oldest daughter, Sarah Lynn Bryant. So if you all would stand, we'd like to recognize you for being here today.
All right, we're about to go to the rules calendar. At 11:25, we're about to take up some legislation, so the House will be in order. House will come to order. We got a lot of traffic in the aisles, a lot of conversations going on the floor. Chair's going to ask that members take their seats and cease conversation, at least so other members can hear the presentation of the bills and any questions. The clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 281. House Resolution 281.
House Resolution 281 by Representative Roberts of the 155th, a resolution providing that Tift County be so named in honor of the late Henry Harding Tift and for other purposes. This resolution has been before the House Committee on Governmental Affairs. The committee recommends the resolution do pass. The resolution is being read this day for the third time.
The chair recognizes the chairman of the House Transportation Committee to explain this resolution, and the chair wants to hear the explanation. Chairman Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually wish I had a good explanation, but I don't necessarily have a good one. All I know is that the County Commission and the City Council, and as well as several other members of the community and leaders, sent me a resolution asking me to check into this and rename it. Evidently, when back in 1905, whenever the General Assembly adopted the charter for Tift County, they named it after Henry Harding Tift's uncle. Instead of Henry Harding Tift, it was actually named after Nelson Tift, who was a good man, but he was from Doherty County and wasn't from Tift County. So, as we normally say, this is a housekeeping bill. This really is a housekeeping bill here today. And that's simply all this resolution does, is actually go back and actually honor the man that the county was originally supposed to be named for, Henry Harding Tift. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to ask for favorable considerations, and I'm going to yield to well, because I know questions can't go good from this.
you got a lot of questions from the Doherty County delegation. They're lighting you up here. You actually did have questions, but you yield the well. Okay. Those questions will be permanent mysteries. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the adoption of the resolution, the ayes are 164, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted, and this House has rectified one of the great eras in Georgia history. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 274. House Resolution 274.
House Resolution 274 by Representative Smith, the 134th, a resolution requesting that the Department of the Army carefully consider the socioeconomic impact of the programmatic environmental assessment for Army 2020 force restructuring will have on Fort Benning and the surrounding region and for other purposes. Resolution having been for the House Committee on Defense and Veterans Affairs. The committee recommends that the bill be passed. The bill is being read today for the third time.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Insurance Committee, Chairman Smith, to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think everyone has heard what sequestration is going to do to the Army. Well, this particular assessment is pre-sequestration. And this urgent resolution is important because it urges the Department of the Army to carefully consider the socioeconomic impact of this programmatic environmental assessment for the Army 2020 force restructuring. Just to give you an idea of what this does, it will reduce the service or active duty and civilian personnel on Fort Benning by 7,100 individuals. If you add family members to that, you're looking at close to 18,000 in population that will be lost from this area, or 5.7% decrease in population. This population decline will have a tremendous impact on the economy of the area. 3.15% loss of sales volume, which equates to a little over $400 million. A 4.99% drop in regional income, and also a 5.94% loss in non-farm employment. I encourage you to vote for this resolution to encourage the Army to take a closer look. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I'll yield the will and ask for your favorable consideration of H.R. 274.
You had questions. Do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Williams to your left for a question.
Will the gentleman yield?
Well, yeah, but I thought you'd ask me before I got up here since you sit next to me, but go ahead. It's kind of like an urgent resolution. Go ahead.
I did have a friendly question, but since...
Well, to my friend, I will answer it. Go ahead.
Is it not true that I certainly support your resolution, but is it not all further true that in spite of Columbus being 3 times the size of Liberty County, where the 3rd Infantry Division is located, that our losses will be almost identical to those of Fort Benning, devastating to the entire southeastern part of this state.
I agree. Thank you, sir. No more questions.
You have one more.
I'll take one more, and then I'll sit down.
Well,
I'll yield the
that
will.
question's waived off. You have no further questions. The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of House Resolution 274 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of the resolution. The ayes are 169, the nays are 1. This bill, or this resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 155. House Bill 155.
House Bill 155 by Representative Knight of the 130th. Bill will be entitled 27, relating to game and fish. As revised provisions concerning the licensing and operation of shooting preserves, to revise the definition of pen-raised game birds, to change license requirements for shooting preserves, to create a lifetime shooting preserve license. Bill having been before the House Committee on Game, Fish, and Parks, the committee recommends the bill passed by committee substitute. Bill's being read today for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Knight to present the bill. Chairman Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'd like to present for your consideration today House Bill 155. First, let me start by saying that all the sections 1 through 5 came from actually the departmental bill, which is the meat of this bill. So the DNR had brought this for consideration. And let me tell you what's the heart of this bill. As you know, Georgia is one of the most, the #1 destination hunting state for people coming from out of state. And one of the reasons for that is primarily one of our quail and our commercial shooting preserves. Well, as it stands currently in law, our shooting preserves have a blanket shooting preserve license. And so all these non-resident hunters that are coming into the state of Georgia don't have to get a Georgia hunting license. And the issue with that has to do with the Pittman-Robertson dollars. And let me explain that. Pittman-Robertson dollars are dollars that you and I pay as hunters, primarily on our firearms, our ammunition, our archery equipment. And it's a federal act that goes back to the 1930s. That money goes up and goes into the Secretary of the Interior and is allocated back to the states to put back into our wildlife habitat and the management of our wildlife at the state level. Well, the allocation of that back to the states is dependent upon license. And so that's why this is very, very important that we start capturing those. And in order to do that, what we've done is we've created a 2-year shooting preserve license for these non-residents that come in, $12. And that allows us to put those into our allocation as the Fed comes back down and looks as they divvy up or distribute those Pittman-Robertson dollars back to the states. We're estimating losing somewhere around $300,000 or $400,000 a year in that allocation that we, as Georgia sportsmen, have spent on ammunition, firearms, archery equipment, just because we haven't put this in allocation of license. There are other parts of the bill. There are cleanup language from signs to numbers to definitions. We did put in one thing that helped our shooting preserve folks, and that was the required hunter safety education requirement. A lot of these non-resident folks don't have it. So we're allowing those shooting reserves to go through that 15-minute training, talk or the video, and now that will qualify and meet that requirement for a hunter education purpose. The last part of the bill that I was telling you that I added on was Section 5, and this goes along with our efforts that we've had in the past in the House. That's a recruitment to our people to get them into the outdoors, to hunting and fishing in the state of Georgia. And the statistics were that about half of the boat owners, people who buy new boats in Georgia, only about half of them hunt or fish. And so all this is doing is allowing them to have a complimentary 3-day license on their birthday under the proper registration of their boat. Another recruiting tool to hopefully get more of our Georgia citizens out there enjoying Georgia's great outdoor resources. That's what the bill does, and I'll stand for any questions, Mr. Speaker. If there are none, I'll ask for the support of the body.
You have a question?
Yes.
Do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes the Majority Caucus Whip, Representative Lindsay, to your right for a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
I thank you for bringing the bill. It's an excellent bill. And you being one of the best hunters in this state, I was wondering in all your hunting experiences down around Tift and Dougherty County, if you could shed any light on this mystery about the Tift brothers, seeing how the author of the previous bill wouldn't answer any questions.
I actually lived down in South Georgia, but I was not unaware of the Tift, the family feud there. So,
thank you for bringing the bill.
Right.
An excellent bill.
Mr.
Perhaps the author of the previous bill will come forward and give us a little more enlightenment.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate it, and I would ask for the favorable consideration of House Bill 155.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 155 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 155. The ayes are 173, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 242. House Bill 242.
House Bill 242 by Representative Willard of the 51st, a bill to be entitled Act to amend Title 15, Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to courts, substantially revise, supersede, modernize provisions relating to juvenile proceedings, enact comprehensive juvenile justice reforms recommended by the Governor's Special Counsel on Justice Reform in Georgia to provide for the Office of Child Advocate for protection of children relating to classification and separation of inmates generally, relating to the Department of Juvenile Justice to amend the official code of Georgia annotated so as to conform provisions to the new Chapter 11 of Title 15 and correct certain cross-references. This bill having been for the House Committee on Judiciary, committee recommends the bill passed by committee substitute. The bill is being read today for the third time.
The chair recognizes the distinguished chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Chairman Willard, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start out giving you some numbers that might cause you to stop and realize the problem we have in Georgia with our juvenile justice system. Currently, as we take a child and put them into what we call a secure detention, that child is going to cost the state over $90,000 a year. You can put children through the finest college in this country for less cost than that. The other bad thing is that of those children we take into detention and become part of our juvenile system, 65% recidivism within a 3-year period of time. And the fact that the ones that we have serving now, probably 40% from the statistics we have, are there for really what we call misdemeanor type offenses or status offenses. Status offenses being those things such as a truancy, run away from home, things that would not be really considered a crime if done by an adult. I want to give you some overview. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can, but it's a very important piece of legislation. This bill has been in the process for the last 5 years. It started as a program really by the Young Lawyers Division of the State Bar as a rewrite of the juvenile code to make it more understandable, because over the years since its first adoption in 1970, as amendments were made, things were changed, put in different areas, and became very convoluted for the practitioners in the field as well as the judges to try and follow procedures that would be applicable to the juvenile code. Last year, those who were serving will recall we had a bill come through, House Bill 641, which was also the juvenile bill. That bill passed this House unanimously. There was not one dissenting vote. It does much the same thing as House Bill 242 before you now, but in the interim time, what has occurred is after the bill passed, the governor had concerns, as the rest of us did, from the bill that we passed. There were some costs in there that really were not clearly defined of what would be the cost and where that cost would be placed as far as a burden on either state or local governments. So the governor recommended, and I agreed, that we hold the bill up and let the commission that had been set up by the governor, he had a special counsel on criminal justice reform that was first set up by this House and served the year before, but he continued it by decree, the governor's decree, to have this as a continuing body and primarily for the purpose to look into and review our juvenile practices and see where reforms might be necessary. It was a bipartisan group. It also concerned many other agencies. I want to, first of all, Mr. Speaker, recognize those in the House who served on the council at the governor's request: Representative Stacey Abrams, Representative Mary Margaret Oliver, Representative Jay Powell, and Representative Willie Talton, and myself were those representing the House. But we also had assistance from Representative Jay Neal, who, although was not named one, he served as coming to many of the members and participated with the discussions. I'd like to also recognize Representative Rich Golick for his handling of House Bill 1176, which was the initial adult reform bill, and this year the handling of House Bill 349, which will be coming later before you. The state has completely replaced in this bill the Georgia Juvenile Code, which governs the state's responses to children in trouble and troubled children. House Bill 242 recognizes and reorganizes the code to make it easier to understand and apply modernized substantive provisions to reflect advances in research and practice in the field of juvenile justice and bring Georgia up to date with successful reforms modeled after other states such as Texas, Ohio, and Louisiana, who have also recently enacted substantial reforms in their justice system for children. The work was done through the governor's office. A great deal of individuals there were involved, and certainly the governor most of all, the Special Counsel on Criminal Justice, the Pew Center on the States, and the Annie B. Casey Foundation helped supply not only financial support, but did a great deal of the research to bring statistics and information to the commission. The State Bar of Georgia, the Council of Juvenile Court Judges, the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Georgia CASA groups, the Department of Juvenile Justice, Department of Human Services, Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, attorneys who represent children, youth who have been brought through the system and also in foster care, and many, many more. You have on your desk a document which was handed out with a blue cover sheet, and on the back of it, you have a list of 2 pages of individual groups that have been not only supportive but involved in the preparation of this important bill and legislation. The recommendation of the council is included in House Bill 242, and the governor's budget will save the state nearly $85 million by now between 2018 and will avoid the opening of 2 additional juvenile residential facilities by the state. It will further allow the state to reinvest a portion of these savings to expand the proven community-based programs that are being started with this bill and the appropriations by the governor. I'm going into a few details about the bill to try and explain the makeup of the bill and give you some insight as to why the bill is set the way it has been. Article 1 is a general provision covering principles as well as the juvenile code proceedings. It also contains your definitions. Oops. Lost my sheets over here, excuse me. Article 2 governs the creation of administration of the juvenile courts and how the appointment of judges are to occur. Article 3 relates to cases involving children who have been abused or neglected by the state and by adults responsible for their well-being. It renames deprivation of cases to dependency, as all other states refer to these cases. It shortens the timelines for certain hearings to help expedite resolution of these cases for the sake of the child and the family. Article 4 will govern the cases involving involuntary termination of the rights of a parent because of a parent's inability to safely and adequately care for the child. However, it strengthens procedural protection for parents in these proceedings and provides additional ways for children to stay connected and supportive adults after the parents' rights are terminated. It preserves a child's relationship with their siblings and other extended family until the child is adopted by another family. It allows a child who has not been adopted and is unlikely to be adopted to ask the court to reinstate his or her parents' parental rights under certain circumstances. Article 5 changes Georgia's approach to intervening with children who are currently considered unruly. This is termed now children in need, or CHINs, are those who have committed an act that would not be against the law but for the fact that they are children. As I mentioned earlier, runaways, truancy, such violations of that. Currently, court intervention with these children is similar to intervention in delinquency cases, and under Article 5, the bill creates a more holistic, service-oriented approach to these children and their families. Specifically allows status offenders to be detained only under very limited circumstances and limits the total time a child in need of services can be held in a secure detention. Article 6 addresses situations when children break the law, referred to as delinquency cases. It recognizes and clarifies the delinquency provisions of our current law and makes some substantial or substantive changes, including requiring use of standard assessment to aid courts determining whether placing the child in secure detention is appropriate. These are referred to as our detention risk assessments. In revising the Designated Felony Act to create two-tier of classes, a Class A and Class B felonies with different penalty options for the court that allow the judges to differentiate punishment according to the severity of the offense. Article 7 governs the way courts determine whether a child who is mentally incompetent is capable of whether a child is determined to be mentally competent and to participate in a delinquency case or whether they're not competent. It requires a competency evaluation for a child under the age of 13 accused of committing a serious violent felony and provides a range of responses for an incompetent child. Article 8 deals with parental notification on abortions. This is a standing provision of the law. It has not been changed by this act. It retains the same language and provisions we have under current law. Article 9 governs access to hearings and records in juvenile proceedings, and it further maintains what we currently have in our law. Article 10 relates to emancipation, which is a process by which a child becomes legally adult, even though they may not be yet 18 years of age. Article 11 renumbers provisions of the enabling legislation of the Office of Child Advocate, but makes no substantive changes. Let me close by pointing out House Bill 42 further requires that detention assessments, as I mentioned earlier, and risk assessments and risk and need assessments be developed, made available for use by intake workers and the courts, and be validated every 5 years. So this will be a continuing process. I think it's one of the things we missed out on under our current law and what our previous statutes have, because we did not have really a means by which oversight of our laws dealing with juveniles could be updated and changed from time to time based upon new practices. It further requires any Department of Justice juvenile justice contact for services to delinquent children be a performance-based contract that incentivizes evidence-based programs and services. Ladies and gentlemen, doing the right thing for our children is not a partisan issue. In fact, the governor this year has placed in his budget $5 million. One of the concerns has been, are we placing a burden on our local governments and local courts? I submit to you what we're going to be doing through the enactment of these various programs will be funded through the state, and the governor is starting out with, I'll call it seed money of $5 million to begin these programs, first in the areas where we find the greatest percentage of children are coming into our juvenile justice system for detention. Go to those areas and help set up and fund the programs that are needed to maintain the children in a community basis where they can be retained in their school, hopefully in their home, but in the community where the best care can be provided to them on a local basis. That is one of the major cornerstones of this entire program. Mr. Speaker, I'm reached a point, I believe we're ready to take any questions, if there are any from my colleagues, and if not, I'll certainly ask for your favorable support to this very important legislation. It's probably one of the major pieces of legislation you'll be seeing during this session, and I commend it to you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You looks like you have one question. Do you yield?
I do yield, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Mickey Stevens for a question. Representative Mickey Stevens, to your right.
I'm sorry. I'm losing it. I'll recognize. I'm sorry, I can't find Mick Stevens.
He waves.
He waves. I'm sorry.
Okay, he waves.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there's no further questions.
There are no further questions.
This is an important bill, and I hope that, again, this House will pass unanimously House Bill 242. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question on House Bill 242 being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 242 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 242. The ayes are 173, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 156. House Bill 156.
House Bill 156 by Representative Neal, second, a bill to be entitled Act to enact the relating to computer or electronically programmed pornography, child exploitation prevention. So it's clarifies certain acts amounting to unlawfully seducing, soliciting, luring, or enticing a child through the use of a computer online service, internet service, or similar device, provide for related matters. Bill had been for the House Committee, Judiciary and Non-Civil. Committee recommends bill passed by committee substitute. Bill's being read today for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Neal to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is a very simple bill that addresses a problem the GBI came across this past year in their investigations with online trafficking of minors for sexual purposes. They found a couple of individuals holding themselves out to be parents of children and advertising those children, and due to a loophole in the law, were unable to prosecute them for those activities. This bill on lines 14 and 15 simply adds a couple of phrases into existing law, which will allow them to now prosecute those individuals who are carrying on those kind of activities on the internet. And Mr. Speaker, if there are questions, I would yield. If not, I'll yield for consideration on House Bill 156.
You have no questions.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your support for House Bill 156.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. Previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 156 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 156. The ayes are 171. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 324. House Bill 324.
House Bill 324 by Representative Dollar, the 45th. The bill has been entitled Act Amending Code Section 50-36-1 relating to requirements, procedures, conditions for verification of lawful presence within the United States, so as to provide exemption for Board of Commissioners of the Georgia Student Finance Commission, Board of Directors of the Georgia Student Finance Authority. Bill has been for the House Committee on Higher Education. The committee recommends the bill do pass. The bill is being read today for its third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar to present the bill. Chairman Dollar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've had several of you, several members come and talk to me about this bill, asking me where it is. Starting to get some phone calls and emails about it. Those of you who haven't, you can probably expect to get a few. As an indirect result of the law we passed a few years ago, the Georgia Student Finance Commission has, starting next year, going to be requiring all HOPE applicants, or those eligible to receive HOPE and those currently on HOPE, to fill out what is called the FAFSA form, which is a federal application for financial student aid. This will be a new practice. It's a fairly, those of you unfamiliar with it, it's a fairly lengthy form and somewhat quite intrusive in that it asks you things such as income, certain assets, and what the commission is basically requiring this for the sole purpose of being able to establish residency, that one is a legal resident or a citizen. So what this bill will do is enable the commission to communicate directly with the universities and technical schools to verify residency. Under current federal law, they are required to check for this, so this won't be a problem. Furthermore, as a sort of a fail-safe, there is an annual audit done by the Student Finance Commission, so that any school that is found to have incorrectly or inappropriately awarded HOPE, then that institution will be on the hook for that money. So that is the bill, and at this time, Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 324? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 324 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 324. The ayes are 163. The nays are 9. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to House Bill 283. House Bill 283.
House Bill 283 by Representative Coleman of the 97th. Bill to be entitled 20, relating to education, update and revise terminology, delete obsolete, unused, necessary provisions, to revise funding ways, revise provisions for earning funding for certain personnel. Bill having been before the House Committee on Education, the committee recommends the bill pass by committee substitute. Bill is being read today for its third time.
Chair recognizes the chair of the House Education Committee, Chairman Coleman, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, 2 years ago, this House passed House Bill 192. This bill created the Education Finance Study Commission. From this House, our Speaker appointed 4 people. He appointed me to co-chair with the Senate, Fran Miller from the Senate. Tom Dixon was appointed as a member, Terry England, Margaret Kaiser, and as an ad hoc member, we had Mike Dudgeons worked with us. 20 members were on this commission, and they were divided into 4 subcommittees, and the subcommittees were chaired by one by Representative England, one by Senator Hill, one by Superintendent John Barge, and one by Kelly Henson, our commissioner of the PSC. We held over 50 meetings over the past 2 years, We had hundreds of people attending, business leaders, school people, giving us input into this commission. Last year, if you remember, we picked the low-hanging fruit, and we passed several pieces of legislation that was recommended by this commission, one being the school nurses, that we fully funded those, and we are doing the second year of funding that this year. We also took our Title 20 law and we eliminated about 30 pieces of legislation, of law that was obsolete. This year, we're going to plan to look at some more of that. We also, if you remembered, repaired and fully funded the capital outlay projects. We also took care and redid equalization, and I'm proud to say in the budget this year that's fully funded what we did there. Representative Nix, if you remember, passed also a couple of years ago House Bill 186 that actually put all of this stuff we're doing into motion. That was his career and technical education bill. Our superintendent of school has taken that legislation and he has developed a report card, a teacher evaluation, and the three bills you're going to hear from my education committee today are a result of the work that's being done and started by Representative Nix 2 years ago for this movement. This year is the last year of this movement, and I bring for you today three pieces of legislation, and this is the first. This is the second phase and the final phase of the Title 20 legislation. Now, on your desk, I placed this morning a summary of this bill. I mean, I can go through every line if you want me to, but I think this summarizes what it says. And when we can get out here for lunch, I'll do whatever you want, but I'm going to use this. But what we basically have is we have the law of Title 20 that specifies what we do. We have some laws that need to be eliminated, some that need to be revised, and some that just need to be tweaked just a little bit. And that's basically what this bill attempts to do. And for instance, I'll go through this just quickly and talk to you about it repeals old obsolete sections, but if we could just look, I want to point out some of the areas where we've had some calls, you may have had some calls from about, and we'll go through this. Section 1, for instance, all that does is it says in 1187 years ago, we forced schools to consolidate. And we said when you consolidate a school, the new school had to be in the center of the county. Well, people, that's not necessarily always the best idea. So that's getting rid of that, and they can place the school where they feel it needed. Section 2 said you had to have an office in the courthouse for the superintendent. Well, we haven't had that happening for years in our state, so that's being eliminated. If you look, we're changing like in Section 3, 5, and 18. We used to call them technical education. It's now no longer called that. What we're trying to call, we're changing that language under Randy Nix's bill. It's now called career, technical, and agricultural education. So we're changing language. Now, when you look at this bill, a lot of the language and verbiage you see in here is already a law. So don't get confused thinking we're adding all this. We're just simply changing what's underlined, a few words. Section 4, what we're doing there is changing language. We're no longer calling them middle grades, we're calling them middle schools. So that's what we're doing there. Section 6, some of you have commented to me about Section 6. You see all these figures. The law requires about every 4 or 5 years that Terry England, his staff, the budget people, tweak the funding, the multipliers they use when they allot money to the schools. Because of the way we're doing health insurance now, it's no longer in the QBE, it's outside of that. What we've done with counselors, the new funds for counselors, for visiting teachers, we've had to tweak. All we're doing is tweaking those languages. We're tweaking that language. That's all that does is bringing that into the 21st century. If you look quickly, I'll just give you some other highlights of this bill. Section 7. Now, I want to spend a little time with Section 7. This is a recommendation of the Commission and also from my budget office. Right now, you're going to be hearing in my last bill about charter systems. You know some of your systems like Fulton County, Banks County. We have 15 school systems that are charter systems. They receive $100 per student if they'll become a charter system. Well, that's not manageable because Fulton County came on this year. Gwinnett's about ready to come on. That could get out of hand. So we're simply saying, if you look at that one on line 210 of Section 7, that we're no longer going to give $100 per child. We'll honor that commitment we made to those 13 schools, but anybody going forward will receive a one-time implementation grant of anywhere from a few $100,000 to maybe a couple of $1 million to implement a charter system. That's basically what that's doing. Section 8, just cleaning up cleaning up language, and it's saying that student services will now be indirect cost. 9 is language. 10 is cleaning up language. 11 is cleaning up language, and it's also we give students, school systems, 20 extra days for remediation for students that are having difficulty in school. The law says now they have to use that in the summer or Saturdays. We're simply saying that money can be used during the school day. They can bring in people to work with them during the school day. If they want to keep it in the summer, they can't pay for transportation. This is allowing them to use some of that money for transportation also. Again, Section 12, we are changing the funding for psychologists. It's taking care of that, adjusting that. 13 is doing the same thing. If you look at 14, on this, I'm going on this sheet, repeals the duplication of posting jobs. The law says that when jobs become available, we have to post them in the school, at the same time send it to the state and be posted online. This simply says they got to be posted in one place, online, and you don't have to have the duplication there. Number 15, you remember we passed an amendment this summer, the Charter Amendment. We call that the Commission Charter Schools. That's changing that name to State Charter Schools now. They will be called the State Charter School Commission. That's what it'll be. Look at line 16, section 16, 22, and 28. We asked for a waiver from No Child Left Behind. You remember John Bard asked for that about 2 years ago, and we were granted that waiver. We're getting rid of that language in our law. No longer do we have to meet adequate progress, inadequate school systems. We're taking that language out of the law, and it's being replaced by race to the top language. Look at 17, RESAs, Regional Education Services. All your districts have a RESA that helps their school systems. We're eliminating them from mandatory training. They handle their own training. This one I'm proud of, number 19. Mike worked hard on this one. This is his little bit. But you remember technology wasn't in our Title 20 law in the past. We're creating a separate capital outlay line for technology. This year we funded it $7 million, and we're going to ask that that be funded like a capital outlay line where we can help our technology. Look at Section 20. That was a problem for many of you. 90% of our schools have middle schools that are 6, 7, and 8. Some of our systems have grades K through 12. They don't have it set up that way. They could not get that extra middle school money. We're simply saying if you have, it doesn't matter what you call them, 6, 7, and 8, 7, 8, 9, whatever, you can get that middle school money. Section 21 just cleans up some language of a bill that David Cassis introduced last year that allowed online learning to take place. And what that simply says was that teachers can charge for that online classes they teach. Well, the state dictates how much they can make. Well, this says that private businesses, private industry can set their own. They were complaining that we were trying to control them. 23, again, paperwork, eliminating that. Now that's homeschool. Now listen, some of you had some question about homeschool. All that's doing, ladies and gentlemen, is saying homeschoolers will file yearly online that their children have attended school that year. And what it basically does, they were having trouble getting a driver's license because the driver's department says they have to sign that they're in school and have good attendance. Well, no one was keeping up with this. This allows that parent to sign themselves and say, my child has been in school, and they can sign for that. The rest of them, 25, clarifies what the Charter Advisory Commission is. Number 26, when a charter applies for a charter school amendment, they simply used to have 60 days. This gives them 30 extra days. The number 30 sets up a funding, and this is basically what it does, ladies and gentlemen. So I ask your consideration and your approval of this bill. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I'm through.
You have a couple of questions if you care to yield.
I'll take one. Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Frazier to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
On section 26 that you just covered.
26.
For the
yes,
charter
ma'am.
school petition, is it not true that currently school systems have 30 days to
They have
review?
60 days. This gives them 90.
And if they do not approve those charter schools,
They can go around and then go to the state Charter Commission.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 283? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. For planning purposes, the chair is planning and hoping to get the rules calendar finished without having to recess for lunch. So if everyone can be as concise in their presentations as Chairman Coleman was, we ought to make that. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 283. The ayes are 169, the nays are 1. This bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Chair recognizes Chairman Chanel for a brief announcement.
Now, Bill, a meeting immediately in the anteroom of the Public Finance and Policy Subcommittee. If you're on that committee, we'll meet in the anteroom for just a very short meeting. Thank you.
Chair, clerk will read the caption to House Bill 293. House Bill 293.
House Bill 293 by Representative Rogers, 29. Bill to be entitled 20, related to tuition equalization grants at private colleges. So it's revised the definition provided that a proprietary institution offering a course of study in nursing, which is otherwise qualified as a qualified proprietary institution of higher education, except for not having in existence this state a period of at least 10 years, as a wholly owned subsidiary of a corporation, operates as a proprietary institution. Bill has been for the House Committee on Higher Education. Committee recommends the bill do pass, be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the Higher Education Committee, Chairman Rogers, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I present to you House Bill 293 is an aid to Georgia students who wish to receive a nursing degree from the Chamberlain College of Nursing. Recently opened its doors in Georgia. The school is owned by DeVry University, which has operated in Georgia for over 40 years. In order for the Georgia students to be eligible for HOPE scholarships and TEG at this nursing school, it is necessary to pass this law to set forth this issue. There's no economic impact. The impact as far as the Georgia student finance is approximately $250,000. And that's simply what the bill does. It's only for nursing, and since we have a shortage of nurses, this should be a good bill for the state of Georgia. Be glad to answer any question if there is any. If there's not, I will yield the well.
You have a question if you care to yield.
Be glad to.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar to your left for a question.
Over here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing the bill. Just a quick question. When we were working on the HOPE bill a number of years ago, a lot of attention was given to, which schools would and would not receive HOPE. I just kind of wanted to ask you where the governor's office was on this bill, because I know that they were really quite firm in what, they drew a line in the sand with what would and would not be receiving HOPE. So
there's been no opposition at all that I've heard on this legislation. It only pertains to this Chamberlain College of Nursing. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
You had another question, but you can catch him going back there, Mr. Chairman. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 293 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 293. The ayes are 166. The nays are 6. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The chair wishes to announce that House Bill 287, which had been postponed yesterday to the next legislative day, will be postponed to the next legislative day once again. That's House Bill 287. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 244. House Bill 244.
House Bill 244, by Representative Nix, the 69th, a bill to be entitled 20 relating to elementary, secondary education, revise certain provisions relating to annual performance evaluations, provide for the development of evaluation system for teachers of record, assistant principals, and principals. Bill having been for the House Committee on Education. Committee recommends this bill do pass by committee substitute. Bill is being read today for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Nix to present the bill. Chairman Nix.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you a bill today that I think is extremely important for our state. This bill will establish a single statewide educator evaluation system. I think this is important because there are a number of groups out there that have had tremendous input, and we're finding that this system seems to work quite well. This will require every teacher of record, assistant principal, and principal in a public school to be evaluated yearly under a common statewide evaluation system beginning no later than the 2014-2015 school year. It gives the State Board of Education the authority to select the single common statewide evaluation system that must include student growth as 50% of the evaluation's total score. Now that is growth, not achievement, but student growth. Includes other factors such as classroom observations, school climate review, and student and faculty surveys. The bill also protects individual teacher and leader evaluations from being subject to open records request. This will provide greater uniformity in our evaluation process. It will provide more objectivity by getting greater input and having student improvement as one of the factors in the evaluation. As it stands now, our system only has two ratings, satisfactory and unsatisfactory. And only 0.5% of our teachers have an evaluation of unsatisfactory. I believe that this will identify and recognize our outstanding teachers. There will be 4 rating levels: exemplary, proficient, needs improvement, and ineffective. And not only would it identify those outstanding teachers, but I believe it will identify those teachers who are very good, who need and desire assistance to become outstanding teachers. It will map out improvement plans based on the teacher need, not on a one-size-fits-all schedule as we have now. And I believe we owe it to our students and our parents and our taxpayers to make sure that we have the very best educators in our classrooms and as our administrators. What I would like to do is I would like to carry you through the bill just a little bit. First of all, this began in 2009 as part of the Race to the Top program. There were funds that were allocated to develop a teacher evaluation tool. Since that time, this system has been piloted in 26 districts that were part of Race to the Top. And in addition to that, there were 24 other districts who volunteered to be part of the pilot. And we had some tremendous testimony from the teachers, the principals, and even parents from those schools who have participated, who were very, very excited about this system and said that it is revolutionizing the way things are done in their school, and they feel like it is extremely important that we do this statewide. I might say also that you have a letter on your desk from the Chamber of Commerce. They believe this is important from an economic development standpoint as well. I'm not going to go over the entire bill, but I want to point out to you several important parts that you need to be aware of, the elements that are really changing. If you want to follow along, I'm looking on line 72, 73, 74. It says the evaluation system shall be developed by the department in consultation with stakeholders such as teachers and principals. And I will tell you that all of those groups have been tremendously involved. They have had input. They came and they testified, and the feedback has been extremely positive. The evaluation system shall use multiple measures, but prioritizing growth in student achievement. The next section, the next area, line 77 through 81, beginning with the 2014-2015 school year, the teachers and principals will be given a written notice to show them exactly what their evaluation will be, the measures, and what they will be asked to be evaluated on. The next section there under both A and B, this talks about the 50% of the evaluation being used as student growth and academic achievement measures identified by the evaluation. It details both those that have a standard assessment, those that do not have a standard assessment. It allows the local school systems to develop and approve those, and then they have to be approved by the Department of Education. At the bottom of page 3, something that's very important, when the teachers are evaluated on other measures, it says that they will be evaluated by appropriately trained and credentialed evaluators. I understand that there is an intense 3-day training program that those people go through to be able to be credentialed to perform those evaluations. On page 4, line 110, and this is the heart of the matter, this details the 4 rating levels that this system will give to educators, either exemplary, proficient, needs development, or ineffective. And it states that an ineffective rating shall constitute evidence of incompetency. On page 5, looking at lines 143, 144, 145, if an educator is deemed to be less than proficient, they will have, their evaluation would lead to provide a high-quality, job-embedded, and ongoing mentoring, support, and professional development program for that teacher, assistant principal, or principal. And this will be tailored expressly for them and for their particular need. So this is the professional development plan changed a little bit from the previous evaluations. On lines 235 through 239, it talks about the placement of teachers on the salary schedule. This really does not change anything about the salary schedule, but it does add the levels of ineffective and needs improvement to the rating of unsatisfactory and the consequences that go with that. And then finally, the last section provides the effective date of July the 1st of 2014. That is the bill. I will stand for questions. If there are no questions, I would highly I would really urge you to consider this and give it your favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker?
You have questions, do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rice to your left for a question.
Thank you, Chairman. You yield?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if I heard you correctly, but I wanted to make sure that people who do not have, or teachers who do not have direct classroom responsibility, like media center people and things like that, how are they covered in this, and how are they evaluated in this program?
The evaluations will be based on the students who actually have a course of study that the teacher takes them through. If the teacher is with those students, I believe it's 65% of the time, then that would be part of their evaluation, the growth of those students, if they're with them for 65% of the time.
So if the media center specialists, this is just an example, and there are other people like this, do not have a graded program that they're associated with, how do you make any determination for them? Are they excluded from this bill?
You know, that is a question that was never addressed in the sessions we were in. I'll be glad to get an answer for that and get back to you.
Do you further yield?
I will. One more.
Chair recognizes Chairman McCall to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman yield for a couple of simple ones. The first one is, I guess, who's paying for all this?
There should be no additional cost for this. The teacher evaluation was funded through the Race to the Top grant to establish it. The evaluations themselves, we've discussed that in a number of different areas. The evaluators can be trained from existing staff, from RESA staff, from central office staff.
Do you further for one more, please, sir?
Yes.
The assessment levels, the 4 assessment levels, are they going to be based on individual teachers' assessments, or are they going to be compared to like schools, or are they going to be compared to all the schools statewide?
Those comparisons would be done on a district level.
And I guess what I'm getting at is, if you got a school with low performing kids traditionally compared to a charter school that you may be opening up in a district, how is that going to be a fair comparison for the teachers to be evaluated on?
We addressed that, and that question came up a number of times. The educator is evaluated on the students that they have when they get those students and when they leave, and the growth of that student. They're not compared with other students in other schools. It's what happened with the students that you had under your teaching or your supervision at that time. So it's the growth of that student from the time you get that student until that student leaves.
You have further questions if you want to yield.
Let me take one more and then I will yield.
Chair recognizes Representative Kaiser to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Nix, on line 112, is it not true that we talked in committee about the fact that an important change in this bill is that we are moving from a very nebulous evaluation system of satisfactory or unsatisfactory to now a much fairer system that provides the potential for growth for our teachers?
I believe the lady knows of which she speaks, and I think that is the essence of this. We can identify those really good teachers, and then we can find those who are good teachers that just need some assistance and help them grow as well. So thank you for the question. Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well, and I urge your favorable consideration of House Bill 244.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 244? No. The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to withdrawing the committee substitute offered by the Committee on Education? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is withdrawn. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute, that being LC 33-5119S, offered by the Committee on Rules? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill. The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 244 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will... The whole state is holding its breath. Have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 244, the ayes are 151, the nays are 21. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 327. House Bill 327.
House Bill 327 by Representative Coleman, the 97th. The bill to be entitled 20, relating to elementary, secondary education, so as to enact the Flexibility and Accountability Act for Student Achievement. This bill having been for the House Committee on Education. Committee recommends the bill pass by substitute. Bill is being read for the third time.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Education Committee, Chairman Coleman, to present the bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing between you and lunch, so let's listen very carefully now. On your desk, you have a handout, House Bill 327, the Flexibility Bill. I gave it to you this morning, and it summarizes what this bill does. I'm going to use this and not go through the bill unless you insist that I go back. But again, if you remember House Bill 186, it was passed 3 years ago, the Career Technical Bill, the Work Ready Bill. It created a pathway that the state board took as far as trying to prepare every child ready for school. All right, and if you remember, we instructed the State Board of Education at that time to develop a report card in a bill we passed last year for every school within the state, a report card. And we instructed them to grade that school from a 0 to 100, average those scores, and come up with a scorecard for every system. And that is in the process of being developed. We need you to know that. Dr. Barge has developed a 19 to 21 indicator looking at things like attendance, graduation rate, student achievement, progress. There's a big progress component of that to grade these schools. Now, one thing we've said, our superintendents have been saying us for ages, ladies and gentlemen, if private schools and charter schools are so good because they have the flexibility to do these things and are not bound by so many state laws, give us that same right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have before you the one piece of legislation that the QB Study Commission, Finance Commission, feels is the most important piece of legislation to come out of that commission, and that is granting our public schools systems the flexibility and accountability they need to get their job done. I hope for you freshmen and sophomores that may not know, we passed a bill about 7 years ago when this budget crunch hit to grant a blanket waiver to schools. They've been operating with the flexibility of class sizes, expenditure control, and several freedoms to where they could get them through this. In 2015, that goes away. And in 2015, this bill kicks in. And what it does, we will start grading our school systems, and if a school system makes an 80, if you look at this page, makes an 80 to 100, they will be granted a category 2 or 3 freedom. That means they've got complete freedom. They can choose complete freedom with no strings attached as long as they continue to make great progress. Or they can choose to become a charter system that I talked about earlier, that already 15 of our systems have chosen, and they can choose to do that. Also, if you'll look, this is effective July the 1st, 2015. And after the initial term, rankings go to every 3 years. It's based on a 3-year average. And ladies and gentlemen, that's basically what this does. I could sit here and read you what all of these do. Category 3 is charter system, 2 is complete flexibility, and category 1 are those systems that are not making good progress. They're failing, they're not doing well. They will be completely under the state jurisdiction and state control to help them by granting them the flexibility that they need in order to get off to become a category 2 or 3 school system. Mr. Speaker, that's basically what it does. We cannot exempt, I want you to see, federal laws, safety laws, or things at the bottom, but that's what the bill does. It's a good piece of legislation, and I encourage you to pass it. Do you have any questions?
You do not have questions.
Okay, that's good. Let's vote yes. Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well quickly. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on House Bill 327? The chair hears none. Previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 327 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 327. The ayes are 174, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. What purpose does Chairman Parsons rise? Trying to get your mic on, Mr. Chairman.
I rise to make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that House Bill 176 be recommitted to the House Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 176 by Representative Parsons, 44th, the bill entitled 36 relating to local government to change certain provisions of counties and municipal corporations related to advanced broadband collocation.
On the gentleman's motion that House Bill 176 be recommitted from the Rules Committee to the Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee, is there objection? The chair hears none. It is so ordered. What purpose does Representative Jaspers rise?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a motion that the rules of the House be suspended, that the bill may be read for the first time and assigned to a committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
A bill by Representative Jaspers, the 11th, bill to be entitled Act, amend Title 16 relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices so as to change provisions relating to carrying weapons in unauthorized locations, change provisions relating to persons exempt, provisions of Code Section 1611-126, 1611-127.2, change legislative findings for preemption for weapons other than firearms.
On the motion of the gentleman from the 11th House District that this House temporarily suspend its rules to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee. Is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. Public Safety and Homeland Security. For what purpose does Chairman Houston rise?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask that
Are you wish to make a motion?
Yeah, I wish to make a motion that the rules be suspended and the bill be read for the first time and assigned to a committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
A bill by Representative Houston, 170th, a bill being entitled, amendment Title 20, relating to education, so as to abolish the Georgia Medical Center Authority to provide for related matters by an effective date.
On the motion of the lady that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? The chair hears none. It is so ordered. Health and Human Services. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions. The clerk will read.
First two resolutions are invitation resolutions being read for the first time today and referred to the Committee on Rules. Resolution by Representative Smith, 70th, recognizes the committee, the Oconee District, being named State Forestry Commission 2012 District of the Year, inviting them to appear before the House of Representatives. Resolution by Representative Wilkerson, 38th, recognizing the committee, the Osborne High School Junior ROTC Raider Team National Champs, and inviting them to be recognized by the House of Representatives. As aforesaid, those foregoing resolutions being read for the first time today and referred to the Committee on Rules. The following resolutions are being read for the first time today for adoption. Resolution by Representative Wilkinson, 52nd, recognizing committing St. Jude the Apostle Catholic School, its 50th anniversary. Resolution by Representative Dickey, the 140th, commending Miss Hester, Mary Person High School 2013 star student. Resolution by Representative Dickey, the 140th, commending David Meeks, Mary Persons High School 2013 star teacher. Resolution by Representative Maxwell, 17th, recognizing commending Cole Golden. Resolution by Representative Burns, 159th, honoring Robert Reeves Sr. upon the occasion of his retirement. Resolution by Representative Burns, 159th, congratulating Bullock Fertilizer Company on 50 years of successful business. Resolution by Representative Howard, 124th, recognizing commending Brian Allen. Resolution by Representative Rice, 95th, recognizing commending Jewish War Veterans Post 112. Resolution by Representative Cooper, the 43rd, recognizing commending Sunrise Program with Soap Creek Elementary. Resolution by Representative Flood, 64th, recognizing Dr. Steve Olson, facilitating leadership development team building workshop. Resolution by Representative Flood, 64th, recognizing Mr. Rob Williams for a facilitating leadership development and team building workshop. A resolution by Representative Gardner, 57th, commending the American Red Cross and proclaiming March 2013 American Red Cross Month in Georgia through the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none. The resolutions are adopted. All right, we have announcements and some other business. Chair's going to ask that the members of the House remain at their seats, clear the aisles that are very congested, and keep the conversations down so we can get these done and then get out of here and go on to committees. If you have an announcement, please be making your way down to the front of the chamber. The chair wants to announce that the panoramic pictures are available for order, and the information that you need for that purpose is out in the ante rooms. And if you have questions about that, you can contact the Speaker's office. Chair recognizes Chairman Yates for an announcement. Chairman Yates.
Done. The Defense and Veterans Affairs Committee will meet at 2 p.m. today in room 415 CLOB to take up a bill, one bill. It's House Bill 52. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Battles for an announcement. Chairman Battles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Motor Vehicle Driver Safety and Service Subcommittee will meet at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We only have one bill, so please be there.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the House Appropriations Committee, Chairman England, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder, we've got a full Appropriations Committee meeting in the morning in 341 at 7:30 a.m. Look forward to seeing all of your bright and shining faces there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Roberts for an announcement. Chairman Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The full House Transportation Committee will meet at 2 o'clock in 506. We've got a couple of bills, and the bridge and road namings will be taken up at that time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Smith for an announcement. Chairman Lynn Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm making this on behalf of Representative Lynn Riley, who chairs, and listen carefully, the Environmental Quality Subcommittee of Natural Resources. They're meeting this afternoon at 4:30 in room 403 of the Capitol, House Bill 402. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Morris for an announcement. Chairman Greg Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Banks and Banking Committee will meet today at 2 o'clock, 406 in the Coverdale building. That's 2 o'clock, room 406. We'll be having a hearing on House Bill 344, a serious piece of legislation from a serious legislator. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Peake for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the Ways and Means Committee, we will have a subcommittee tax reform today at 2 p.m. in the Capitol at 133, and then we will have Big Ways Committee meeting at 3 p.m., 606 CLOB. A lot of bills to address today. Please make sure you're there 3 o'clock today, Full Ways and Means Committee. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Parsons for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. There'll be a meeting of the the Telecommunications Subcommittee of the Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee today at 2 o'clock in 216 the Capitol. There will be a full Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee meeting today at 4 o'clock and 4:15 of the Coverdale Legislative Office Building. That's the full committee at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Burns for an announcement.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Hunting Regulations Subcommittee will meet in the morning at 8:15 in room 515 in the LOB, and they will take up House Bill 448. That's chaired by Jason Shaw, Representative Jason Shaw.
Chair recognizes Representative Epps for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Tag and Title Subcommittee of Motor Vehicles will meet 2:30 this afternoon in room 606. We have one bill on our agenda. Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Frazier for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Working Family Legislative Caucus is meeting right now in room 406. We are discussing health care issues in room 406. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Pruitt for an announcement.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. I have a resolution here, and I've talked to many of you about this resolution. It's commending school districts who participated in the Farm to School program, serving 5,000 meals. And this is several schools, and I'm going to call out the counties and ask if you would, if you want to come sign it. I'm going to lay the bill over here on the side, and we're going to turn it in this afternoon. Appling County, Atlanta, Baldwin, Bleckley, Burke, Carrollton, Clark, Cobb, Commerce, Crisp, City of Decatur, Fulton, Grady, Habersham, Harris, Hart, Jackson, Madison, Marietta, Newton, Perkins, Rockdale, Savannah, Chatham, and Tift County Schools. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Carter for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Full governmental affairs meeting today in 506 CLOB at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Neal for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. State Properties meets at 2 o'clock today. State Properties at 2 o'clock in 403 here in the Capitol. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the governor's floor leader, Representative Hatchett, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Economic Development and Tourism will meet at 1:30 in 506 LOB.
Chair recognizes Representative Riley for an announcement. She waves. Chair recognizes Chairman Sims for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, the House Intergovernmental Coordination Committee will meet today at 3 p.m. in room 403. 3 bills. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Jaspers for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Fellow representatives, today we entered a bill for your consideration called the Safe Carry Protection Act. It's the work of many people, including myself and Chairman Meadows. It was done today, so many of y'all haven't had an opportunity to sign it. Our fine clerk's going to hold it up here for a little while that you'll have an opportunity to sign it if you'd like to. Thank you.
If you have pages or a page here today, we will be doing page photographs at the rostrum immediately upon adjournment. Immediately upon adjournment. That completes our announcements. The chair recognizes the majority leader of this House for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move we now stand in recess until 5 p.m. today, at which time we shall adjourn until 9 a.m. I repeat, Mr. Speaker, 9 a.m. Friday morning, March the 1st, 2013.
On the motion of the majority leader that this House be in recess until 5 o'clock p.m. today, at which time we would be adjourned until 9 o'clock a.m. Friday morning, March 1, 2013. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. All those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House is in recess until 5 o'clock p.m. today, and then will be adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.